Okay, well, I'm here at Frog Lake in northwest Oregon, and a nice calm day, water's like glass. Here, it's about 8:20 in the morning, and I'm going to give the Oru Kayak a test run today to check my first time in the Oru. Bought it last year, and I was kind of hoping to use it to do scouting missions and alpine places that you just can't get my big kayak into. And ultralight setup, less equipment than I normally carry on my Big Fish 105, but I will have the ability to do my dive cameras and stuff like that. And so today is to test out my rig that I built that attaches to the gunnels on the kayak, and see if it holds in place, and you know, just kind of an equipment test, because I think that's going to be a good idea. So I'm going to get this thing out here, put it together, and figure out probably the best way to launch it, because I know Orus, you don't want to just like a hard shell kayak set it on the ground and do the bulldog butt script, as I call it. You just kind of get out there and get going. And so you got to be a little more gentle with these. So, and it's also sit inside. I'm used to sit on tops. So no doubt going to have to stomp around the water a little bit and get up inside this thing. But you know what? Hey, we'll figure this out. So let's get this show on the road. All right, Amber Dog Productions. See you out there. Okay, so I selected a spot, and they call this Frog Lake for a very good reason. I don't know if you can see those or not, but these little guys are like everywhere. And you got to be careful walking around out here, because as you start to walk, the ground starts moving with little froggies everywhere. Little guys. They're not getting very far very fast. Okay, so what we got here is I got my camera mount rigging, paddle holder, this whole thing I kind of came up with. And we're going to test this out today. And I'm just carrying a small waterproof case for my phone, my wallet, you know, stuff I don't want to get wet, because I'm probably going to get wet. And extra little seat cushion I wanted to try out, because the seat cushions in these are notorious for being like nothing. So maybe it'll offer a little bit of comfort. I want to try that one out for, you know, when I'm out doing a lot of filming and stuff. I'm out there for quite a substantial amount of time. It's a little Goodyear auto seat cushion is what these are. Memory foam, I use them in a lot of my kayaks. And of course my PFD, I use a Mustang, auto inflating. And as always, check your dial, make sure you got a nice little green dot. Everything's good to go, and should be good to go there. So let's get this thing put together. If I can remember how. Not about your state or whatever, but in our state, you're required to carry a flashlight, first aid kit, and a whistle. So I have all that as well here. And I'm located in Oregon, USA. And we're moving the actual kayak from the backpack. Now this assembly, this backpack assembly, you can buy it separately. I chose to use it in case I need to hike in, but it gives you all kinds of little storage and stuff. I did a video on this a while ago that if you want to look at, and it shows the full setup and stuff like that, and how I rig it. So anyway, I won't be using the backpack today. Obviously, I just use it to carry all my stuff out here from the car. All right. I'll open this thing up. You little goodies out of it. Seat back, a theoretical cushion, and the two bulkheads. All right, and this is the bow. You can tell by this plate here, and it has the name Inlet on the front. All right. Now these are origami kayaks. This ought to be interesting. There we go. She's a little stiff. It's a brand new one. I've only done this a couple of times in this one. So that's that. There we go. Just kind of pop all these seams out. And there's some diagrams on here that kind of show you, where to press and stuff like that too, on the outside of the hull and whatnot. It's not difficult to figure out what you're supposed to do. And if you have any questions, just watch a couple videos and play with it. The more you do it, the more you get the hang of it. So that's going to go something like that. There's another crease. You just kind of go gentle on it and you'll see where it wants to go and where it needs to go. All right. So we are going to start with the front bulkhead. And you first take this little clip here. There's an orange strap up here in the front. You hook that in first. And then your toe rest goes in. Like I said, there's plenty of videos on how to set these things up. I don't want to bore you with too many details here. Plenty of videos on that. There it goes. Okay. I'll cinch that down a little bit more when I get there. Put the little Velcro strap in here. To that little bulkhead. There we go. Clip these footrest buckles in, and that's good to go. All right, now the rear bulkhead. Always make sure that your Velcro is facing up a little bit, and we're good. All right, pop these back out. Sometimes I think, given you're dealing with a kind of a plastic stuff that, if you can let it warm up in the sun for a couple minutes, probably help it be a little less stiff, but I don't know that that's necessary. Like I said, this is my first time actually putting this on the water, so it is what it is. People often wonder which flap goes on top, and like I stated in my last video, but I'll say it again because it's really obvious once you see it, but it's also easy to get confused on it. And like I said, that there's a rounded on this flap and this one up here. One of these edges is flat and the other one's rounded. The round one always goes over the top. Okay. So once I get those in, I get a little bit more of a cinch down once I've kind of got this thing together a little bit. And you don't need to get animalistic with them, There's no need for that. Get my Velcro strap down there, like that. we go. Back's done. Okay, pretty simple there. And we're going to take the seat cushion. Seat cushion goes underneath the little bungee cord in here. Hook this back strap together here. That just helps support it a little bit. And the seat back. Now I have, if I can find it, I have a thing that I bought that supposedly helps a known issue with these. A lot of people have the problem with these seat back bottoms, that they come unclipped, you know, while you're kayaking, and clearly that irritates a lot of people. And then it's a known problem people have. So I bought this thing, and I found it in the Oru Kayak Facebook groups. There's a gentleman there that makes them. Mine is probably in here. And let's see. I really don't know. Like I said, I know there's several pockets in here. If I can find the other pockets. There's a zippered one. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Let's see if it's in here. What do we got? All kinds of stuff in here. Yep, there it is right here. So let's go ahead and, since we're testing stuff out today, let's give this thing a bash too. All right. There's plenty of information in these in the Facebook groups, but the theory here is a little bungee cord goes in the groove, and I believe that just sits in there like that, and that way it can't come out. So we'll see if that works or not. There we go. Okay. Pretty self-explanatory, as it turns out. Now, I do want to find out if this cushion here is going to even fit in the kayak. It looks like it will. Plenty of room. And it looks to me like the back strap of this handle, carrying handle, would fit. I believe it would. Carrying handle appears it would fit right there. That'll help hold that in place. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay, well, this is why we do these tests. And let's get the paddle put together. There, 4-piece pack paddle. Now there are better paddles out there, but given what I do, where I don't need to be huffing and hauling, you know, I think this paddle will probably suffice just fine for me. I like the fact that it's a 4-piece, you know, that's pretty nice. Nice and light too. I'm sure it's going to have, you know, a moderate amount of flex and stuff like that, you know, and you're not going to be doing any major torquing on it or anything like that. But given what I need it for, I think it's going to do just fine. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm checking. It's got degree pitches and stuff like that on it. So and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lock it dead center, and that's that. And then this unit here, like I showed in my other video, this unit attaches right here and here like this for my hold my paddle and my camera. And I think I'll go put. I think I'm going to go put my backpack back in the car and give it a bash. Thank you. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that actually went better than I thought it would. I just stepped out on that rock out there, kind of sat in it. This thing does not need much water to float, that's for sure. Not much at all. Okay, I'm only in about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches of water. Oh, fishy. And trying to get it adjusted for real world use here. I'm gonna pull my, yeah, it feels pretty good. Pull my foot thing up there. Yeah, not too bad. I mean, I can definitely feel that. Let's see here, does it have secondary stabilization? Well, you can lean it pretty good. I don't think it has secondary, but it's certainly got some darn good primary. It does have a little bit of secondary stabilization in it, but all right, well, any time like the present, shall we? Oh, it's real touchy. It's very light. Very, very light. You know, the darn thing's tracking pretty good. There's no rudder or skeg on these things, but I mean, I'm sure it's very susceptible to the wind, but boy, it sure glides easy. My goodness. It feels solid. It feels really solid. There's an eagle over there next to the right of Mount Hood hunting over the water. Oh man, he just dove in. Oh, he got something. Wouldn't that be awesome if that could show up on a GoPro? But I doubt it. You know, for a couple of minutes on the water already, it feels good. I gotta get used to the, you know, wibble wobbliness of it, but it's not like it feels like it's just gonna roll on me. Because it's not like a round bottom kayak, you know, but it's just a different feeling. Keep your hips unlocked, and I think it's gonna be fine. I mean, the inlet is known to be a pretty stable lake, you know, smooth water kayak. It's what they're known for, but the portability is insane, which is the whole reason I bought it. And yeah, just want to kick back and coast and get a nice view of Mount Hood right over there. So this is my view this morning. So I'm going to continue to kind of play around with this a little bit and see how this rolls. I've been out here for a little bit, and I noticed it had a slight list to the left, so I just scooted over a little bit to the right, and it's perfectly flat now. This thing's handling pretty good. So far I'm pretty impressed with it. I'm just going to continue to kind of scooch around this little lake and get comfortable with it, but so far so good. I got no complaints yet. Okay, now I've had paddles. I've got several that you can adjust the pitch and the length and stuff like that. I'm about 5'10", and sitting here in the inlet and trying different length settings out. I'm just keeping it 0 degrees pitch. But what I found is that initially I was occasionally hitting the gunnels with it closed all the way, so I just kind of been playing around with it, trying to get a feel for it. Normally just never seem to adjust them much, but this thing's pretty quick on the water, so I thought, well, all right, we'll give it a little bit of go. And then I was kind of tapping the gunnels, and so I kind of wormed it on out, and I'm currently on 7, and it feels good. It's not dog-legging as bad, you know, it wiggles a little bit left and right like you'd expect it to, but it's pretty good at 7. So, note to self, 7. It's also my lucky number, so yeah, I can hang with that. All right, let's keep this up. So I know this is basic 101 with kayaks, but in my case, where I'm coming from, my first kayaks were sit-on-top fishing kayaks. This is the first sit-inside kayak I've ever been in, but it's one of those things that I knew this, but I forgot because I don't practice it. And that is that, you know, on sit-inside kayaks or any kind of wobbly kayak, I guess, and like I said, this is not bad. Okay, this is not a round bottom or anything like that, but the thing is, I knew better. You put your legs like your knees out towards the gunnels. You know, on my fishing kayak, you know, when I'm normally out filming, my knees are always, not always, but generally they're pretty close together while I'm working with all my cameras and that kind of stuff, and I can stand up and all 9 yards. And this one, you know, you sit down inside of it. So you know, I know that if you keep your feet and your knees out as wide as, you know, as wide as possible, it helps stabilize the kayak. And I'm telling you, that really works on this. I keep forgetting a couple of times intermittently here and there, but I've noticed that when I notice my knees are more of a vertical position, that while the kayak's still stable, I'm getting a lot more of this as I'm paddling. And so then during that same process while I'm paddling, I'll kind of lay my knees out against the gunnels out here, and you can feel the increase in stabilization, which is something that I know is really common knowledge in the, you know, kayak world. I am not a professional kayaker at all. Recreation, but my big thing is obviously doing videos and taking photos underwater and that kind of stuff. So the kayak for me is simply a platform. What an office though. Wow. Okay, I am in like some crazy shallow stuff back here in the little reed beds. I'm just kind of testing now what's the draft in this thing, and I'm guessing, like I said earlier, it can't be more than a couple inches at best. But anyway, here's where I'm at, way back in like, I've never made it back in here this far. So you can see that I'm down pretty shallow. There's some reed grass out here and stuff, but I see some water out over that way. Now, I don't really think I can get over there, but, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Well, we got that, you know, it's going to be a really hot one today, so as the sun starts cresting over these mountains, you get a bit of a breeze coming on. So this is really good for me today because, you know, like, got out here and it was glass water and stuff, but now it's not bad, it's not quite comfortable, you know, but there's enough of a wind to be able to kick a light kayak like this around. Knees out. And it's doing well. I thought maybe I'd have to fight the wind a little more to go against it, but it's not the case. It's doing good. Okay, we got an osprey up there in the tree. You're never going to see it in the GoPro. But maybe I can get up here nice and mellow. Maybe you see it fly off or something. Just cruise on up here nice and easy. There he goes. He got one. Fell right out of that tree and on. Okay, test day with the Oru and my camera rig and paddle holder and all that. Went really good. Actually exceeded my expectations a little bit. I'm not exactly sure what I expected, but I guess my standard is, you know, for what I've been doing is on my Big Fish 105, which is like a full-on camera ship now. And you know, I think that when I got this, I wanted a way to access alpine lakes or hiking only areas and stuff you can't get to. And I was curious, would it work? Would my camera system work? You know, all those kind of things. How would the kayak track? How would it do in wind? I mean, all those kind of questions that could affect the enjoyment of the kayak and usability for what I need. So I kind of looked at this today in two different ways. The first is, how would this work for a recreational kayak? Because you kind of got to know that, because that's really what they're designed for initially. And so I wanted to kind of pay attention to that as well, not just for what I do, but for anybody that's watching my video and perhaps they just want to know a little something about the Oru. Now I know there's, a lot of videos out there on it, and maybe you'll stumble across one of theirs, or maybe you'll stumble across one of mine. Stumble the words. But the point is that I want to go ahead and cover that as well. So, and I'm not going to make it long, give some wild review. So starting off as a recreational kayak, I think it's fantastic. I really do. I think that as long as you understand that a little extra care needs to be taken over a hard shell kayak, I think it's a fantastic kayak. Yes, the inlet has a known issue with the coaming in the front, or the cowl, whatever that thing is called. The black thing right on the bow. They have been known to split. Gorilla Tape fixes it permanently. You can get a hold of Oru and they'll send you a new one. And I'm sure at some point in time they may or may not address it and do something different with neoprene, or who knows. But the point is that even if it does fail, it does not affect the kayak's ability to float or anything of the sort, or nothing. It's nothing to worry about. It's more unsightly and just kind of makes you mad. Other than that, that is the known issue with these. But a little extra care needs to be taken with these. You don't just beat them up on the rocks and slam them down and drag them down the boat ramp, And you don't need to, because the thing doesn't weigh anything. I mean, your 9-year-old kid can carry this thing, okay? So put it in the water, and, and it doesn't need much water. I think in my case, I'm like 160 pounds right in there, and I needed like 3 inches of water, and that's all I needed. It was pretty impressive. And I just kind of like leaned my body a little bit and pulled it off. I was sideways to the shore, leaned my body into the deeper water, which relieved it off the bank, and it just kind of drifted right in, and that was it. It was that easy. I'm completely dry. Remember I said I was at the beginning, I'm probably going to get wet. Well, I didn't. And not even my feet. I didn't even get my freaking feet wet. And that probably depends on how you got to launch it. But anyway, recreationally, if you're considering an Oru, this is the inlet. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed with how it tracks. Of course, without a skeg and a rudder, it's going to drift a little bit and the wind will push it around, but it does not affect your ability to go out and have a great time on the lake. You're not fighting it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It does everything you'd want it to. And best of all, if you live in an apartment or you don't have a car with a big rack or whatever, then yeah, this very well may be something you need to look into. They got a bunch of different models. Mine's the inlet. I think they make the lake now and the bay, and a bunch of them. They make a 2-seater tandem that you can be 2-seater, 1-seater, whatever fits the bill for you. But they all fold up origami style, and you can store them in your closet. So yeah, you're going to pay a little more for this than you are down at Walmart for a Pelican or something like that. But if you want to have the ability to have one of these in your trunk of your car, in your closet, and coming home from work without worrying about some jackwagon stealing it off the top of your car or out of the back of your truck or something, throw this in the trunk of your car on the way home from work, throw it in a lake and relax a little bit, Anyway, so no problems. I would say from my angle, there's all of that, because I do enjoy going out and floating on a lake and enjoying the scenery all around me and stuff. But I also do videography and photography. And so for me, is it going to work? Yes. It's going to do exactly what I'd hoped it would. And the mount system that I made, the silver bar mount system with the camera and the paddle holder and blah, 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 it's going to work great. It did not flex. It did not bow. It didn't loosen. I had absolutely no problems. Usually when you engineer and design something, there's always revisions you need to make. I got lucky this time, right out of the chute, flawless. Is there anything I would change? No, not really. I don't see the need for it. I ran with one camera today. Everything in this video is done with one singular camera. You'll notice I have no underwater footage because at this particular lake, it's not worth doing. It's just too murky. But the 2 rigs I've got in there, my underwater rig can mount on either side and whatever. I've got it all figured out. No problem. So, end of the day, I'm very pleasant with the way it handles, the way it floats. Once you kind of get used to it, you know, loosen your hips up, kind of get used to it, yeah, you can relax and have a good time. Just, you know, I messed with it and learned, you know, where did I like the seat back? Did I like it more vertical or back a little bit? And the leg brace and stuff like that, you know, but that's, you just adjust it as you go. It's no big deal. Set up and tear down, very easy. The rumors are true. If you have one of these and you're out, people are going to notice. They're like, oh, what is that? And they see you setting it up or tearing it down. They're like, what is that? And then they see you throw it in a backpack and throw it on your back and walk away. They're like, so yeah, so there is that. There's a fun factor, I guess is what I'm saying. So anyway, from initial concept to talking about it and designing the rigging and finally culminating here today at its final test, the next step now is to see if this old fart can actually do a hike up to, I'm considering Mirror Lake. Don't know if I can do it or not, you know, but there's one way to find out. But I think it'd be pretty cool to get rid of that mosquito out of my face. And I think it'd be pretty cool to hike to Mirror Lake. And I can find no documentation of anyone doing Mirror Lake. I don't even know if the water's clear. It might be murky. I don't know. But I can't find anything of anyone kayaking on Mirror Lake, probably because it's a hike in. And inflatables are heavy. Hard shells, you know, that's a long 4.1 mile hike, dragging a hard shell on a set of wheels in an undeveloped path. So can't believe no one's ever done it, but whatever. What do you say we give it a bash? See you at Mirror Lake, Amber Dog Productions. See ya.